would like to thank everyone for coming out this evening, October the 6th, 2014, for our Pine Bluff City Hall meeting. May we have roll call, please?
Alderman Drummond.
Here.
Alderman Easterly. Alderman Easterly.
Here.
Alderman Stamp.
Here.
Alderman Walker. Alderman Boyd.
Here.
Alderman Brown.
Here.
Alderman Mays.
Here.
Alderman Hope.
Here.
Thank you. We have the minutes. Each of you have a copy of the minutes. Okay, it's been moved and second that the minutes of September the 15th be approved. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
As we be on TV, I've been told by several people, I thought it was one just couldn't hear, but they said we're having a problem hearing. They don't have a problem hearing us when we're watching on TV. So, is it our mics or something? I don't know. But
Is there any sound at all? I have
that's
not.
some sound, but they said they can barely hear. One guy say he turned his set all the way up, and then when something else came on, say it blasted him out of the house. So it's
Okay.
something to do with what we got going on.
All right, I'll have them to check into it. Right. Most of you that talk softly, I don't have a problem being heard, but some might. Okay, Alderman Steps, I saw that now. Okay, before we move on to the committee reports, I would like to make an announcement and then also have an update. And the one announcement I would like to make is our current interim director, Mitzi Ruth, would you please stand? Our current interim director, as of today, has been promoted to Director of Inspection and Zoning. We'd like to congratulate her. Thank you. Also, I've asked Larry Reynolds, who is the Executive Director of Southeast Arkansas Regional Planning, if you would come to the podium, please. Larry's going to give us a very brief update on resolution number 3733 as it pertains to zip code designations, and then also an update on our corporate city limits as progression of that.
How you doing? On the resolution 3733, that's where the city council had requested that the postal service designate 71602 to Pine Bluff and reassign Whitehall zip code. That was sent to the postal service. They sent it back to the mayor, and it was forwarded to us to process. We have been processing it. Some of the things they wanted a rationale, which we've got written up, a rationale on why this should be done, why they should consider this. We've also had an updated map, and we have a listing of all the city streets ranges throughout the city, and right now we're finalizing the zip codes. We have to attach a zip code to every section of the range and send that to them. We'll have that sent off by the end of this week. That does not mean they will do it. Now, in the rationale, I'll just point out, what we pointed out was there might be two options in the rationale. And one was to assign Pine Bluff 71602 zip code along with the 71601 and 71603. You still haven't eliminated any problems because you have 71603 and 71601 outside the city limits too in different areas. But there may be an option where you assign Pine Bluff the 71601 zip code, period. That way all addresses in Pine Bluff may be 71601. That would affect fewer people as far as getting a designation, and then it would also tie the zip code down to the city limits boundaries of Pine Bluff. Whatever, it'll be in the Postal Service's hands. I don't know if you're familiar with how they work, but we'll send it to them, and I'll make sure you all have a copy of what we send to them. So, on the boundary survey, we have completed all the annexation reviews. We've gone back from 1985. We actually started off in 1960 and started moving forward. We found out that 1985 annexation was the huge annexation that pretty much encompassed most of the surrounding areas of the city. Alderman Steps, you remember that one? That was that huge annexation, and we have confirmed all the legal descriptions on those boundaries. and we have them, and I am gonna provide y'all with one of these as soon as we get it done, and an updated map showing all the boundaries, all the annexations, the ordinances, the resolutions that go along with them attached, so that will confirm the boundaries. We've also gone out and done a physical check of the locations, all the, on Highway 270, 530, where the boundary markers are. The last thing we have to do is provide this information to the Highway Department and to the Geographic Information Office. And once that's done, they'll either confirm what they have or not, and we'll have to either provide them information to update their maps, and from there, we should be good to go. I don't know what else is wanted, but I think we'll be on the road to finalizing this request.
Let me ask you a question, Larry.
Okay.
The highway department sent a letter, a statement indicating that they had moved the boundary lines when they was working on the roads out there. And they said perhaps maybe they didn't put it back in the right spot, or if they did, they were gonna go back and check. Have you all verified with them as to whether or not they went back and made that correction?
In which area now?
Whichever was that.
270.
On 270?
Right.
Down by the Splash Car Wash where we were pushed up into Pine Bluff, the city limit boundaries, about 100 feet going up into Whitehall, past the new Fairfield Credit Union up in there.
Well,
Now the signs are equal now. At first they wasn't equal, but now somebody had made them equal down there.
well, the reason they weren't equal is because of the one de-annexation that took place on the south side of 270, where the property owner de-annexed from Pine Bluff and annexed to Whitehall. The sign was never moved. It has been moved down. Now, it's still, if you sit and look at the map, you say, well, that doesn't look right. Well, the problem is the boundary line will follow the city limit line, or the street, center line of the street down, and it won't cross over to his property line. Where it crosses over, it's still public right of way where that sign is. And then it's gonna drop down a little more. But the sign is in the right location. Now, there's one on University they weren't sure about, but I think David Henning has sent me a letter saying that one. But, would you like me to reconfirm that with Mr. Henning on the,
Yes.
Yes, because that's what he stated, you know.
I've got a couple letters from David Henning about the locations for signs, so I will confirm the 270.
Okay.
And that's on both sides of the street, one side of the street, are y'all concerned about?
Well, the boundaries, period.
Yeah, but they're not gonna put signs on, they usually don't put signs on both sides.
But we just want well, first of all, I'm still not satisfied.
Now, you won't be.
Get it up front, but we need to get the original, proper, updated, accurate boundaries.
Okay.
Said both sides if need be.
Okay.
Do we need to give a voice vote on 71601 for you?
That is just something to get them to look at it. They will not act without coming back to y'all. I was just saying, that is not we're not asking that they do it, we're asking that they review it. Once they review it, they'll present something to y'all, to the council. They won't present it to me, they'll present it to you as a council. And you'll sure be one of those where you either accept, reject, or ask them to modify.
Any other questions for Mr. Reynolds? Okay, none? Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate the update. Yes, ma'am?
I have a question. In the announcement of Ms. Ruth, is she getting the full salary of the position that the previous person had?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to committee reports. Ways and Means, Alderman Brummett.
Yes, Mayor. The Ways and Means Committee met prior to the meeting. We have one budget adjustment for consideration. The amount is $14,000. It's from the street departments concerning traffic control signals. The department received reimbursement from insurance for the $14,000. So it's not any money coming out of the general fund. It's monies that they're going to use within their department. So I move that we accept this budget adjustment from the street department.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that the budget adjustment in the amount of $14,000 for the street department for traffic control signals. Floor is now open for discussion.
As
Chairman of Public Works, I'd asked Mr. Rick Rhodes if you have any questions to ask him about it. He had mentioned, we had talked about this morning. He's right here.
Okay. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
In everybody's packet, you received a copy of the update on the 2014 sales tax receipts. And again, it's trending, we're actually about 1% ahead of last year as far as city sales tax receipts. A lot of people are always saying how it's, taxes are down. They're not down. As a matter of fact, I think we're doing extremely well to stay level in these economic times. So just wanted to make sure everybody aware of that. I move that we pay the bills that the city owes.
It's been properly moved and second that the bills for the city of Pine Bluff be paid. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, that concludes Ways and Means.
Thank you, sir. Ordinances and resolutions, Alderman Brummett.
Yes, ma'am. Ordinance and Resolutions Committee also met prior to the meeting. It's been recommended that number 1 be pulled. The sponsor wants to get additional information and then possibly will bring it back. Numbers 2, 3, and 4 will be read for the second time. Number 5 and 6 will be read for the first time. And 7 through 16 are resolutions, and they will be completed. That completes ordinance resolutions.
Thank you, sir. Economic and Community Development, Alderwoman Walker.
Mayor, we had, there was a meeting for the 5-year plan for the city, and there were different things discussed for the north side as well as the area behind the college. So it was quite a discussion for the coming 5 years.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Public Health and Welfare, Alderman Holcomb.
Mayor, I have no report, but I believe you had some positive feedback from the ordinance that was passed from the last meeting regarding the buildings.
Yes, sir, we did. Yes, sir, we did. We met with a group today, not revealing a name because they're still negotiating a commercial piece of property. But one of the things that came from the meeting, he was rather hesitant. There's some taxes due and different things that they're looking at. One of the options he mentioned was, well, we can just allow the commercial building to sit as it is, which is vacant and it is an eyesore, and we can let it go back to, or let it go to the land commissioner, and hopefully it will be sold in the next 2 or 3 years. And that's one of our options. And I looked at him and I said, well, sir, not necessarily. I said, we passed a law last month, and it has already gone into effect, to which abandoned buildings, commercial buildings such as this, will be subject to some penalties should you allow this to continue. So I went over the penalties with him, and as I continued to review the stiffer part of the penalties, and then he said, well, who will have the final authority or the say on this? And I said, the judge. He said, it'll go before the judge. And I said, yes, sir, it will. And with that, he went on to option 1 and 2 and completely dismissed the third option, which I thought was really, really good. So just knowing that there is a law in the books that has teeth such as that is going to be huge for our city. And I think it's great that our city council passed it. And I thank you for that. It makes us, with what we've got to do, much easier. Thank you. Let's see. Yes, ma'am?
Do you mind if I ask which building that was?
Well, they're still negotiating, and I don't know that they want that public yet as to what's going on. I would get their permission and call you. Public Works, Alderman Mays.
Mayor, I just want to go over, I need some help with this dumping again. It's really getting out of control again. I think what we need, the people in the fourth ward acting for cameras. Whatever we can do. I've been talking to Mr. Grogan. street department. Between 9th and 10th on Dearborn. Am I right, Rick? That's one of them. It's a mess over on Rome and Birch. They just throwing carpet, whatever they can throw out off the back of these trucks. Lee, 3rd and Taft. Evelyn seen some, she turned the wrong road there and looked at some of this stuff. It's terrible. I mean, what can we do as a group? I mean, we have the police department, we have everything we need to fix this problem, and we're not fixing it. I mean, what are we doing? It's terrible. It's terrible. I'm just asking for your help. I mean, I've been asking, and you don't need to go see this stuff. The people in the neighborhoods are trying to clean the neighborhoods up. And by the time they clean the neighborhoods up, you got somebody just, I mean, if we can just put a driveway in the woods and put some SP2 in there and put a police car in there, or whatever we got to do, I mean, to solve the problem. I mean, nobody coming up with a solution. We got everything we need in this city to solve every problem, and it's not working. Something is not working. You can't tell me we got everything we need. We got $30 million a budget, and we can't catch somebody dumping trash in somebody's neighborhood. That's the end of my report.
Okay, thank you, sir. Development and Planning, Alderman Boyd.
No report, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Traffic and Aviation, Alderman Brown.
No official report, Mayor. I didn't think I had anything to say tonight, but you know, as I sit and think, now I know that I did have something to say. I had a chance to go to a parade the other day, and it's not the first parade that's happened. The last Christmas parades and the last rodeo parades have been the sorriest parades I have ever gone to in my life. And when it gets down that bad, we can't even get people to come in for one day to watch a parade or participate in the parade. I didn't see Washington Chapel, I didn't see Whitehall, or the junior band. All I saw was Pine Bluff, Roby, and Dalloway. And I think one of them may have been missing the junior band or something. I mean, what is happening? We don't have people that's working for development of Pine Bluff. We don't have anybody thinking about, I mean, we're the Mecca. What is the problem? We can't have a good parade. We had Fordyce, we had Southeast Arkansas Rodeo parade. We had Warren, we had Fordyce, Rising, Doom was not, nobody, that was like 1 or 2 floats. It was a horrible parade. How could I say I wasted my time to go over there? I mean, it just wasn't anything there. And I know you can see this, and we're steady saying that we're trying to help Pine Bluff grow. And all I can see is power structures in Pine Bluff. I can just see where we're doing things by power. It's showing that we got the power to do this, and we're not doing anything for the living of Pine Bluff. We're talking about a quality of life division for what? It's not going to change the life of Pine Bluff. I mean, what are we doing here? We're just showing power structures. I mean, we have a town that we want everybody from the Southeast Arkansas to come into, and some visitors and some tourists from Little Rock to drive in. Which is Pine Bluff just dying. We were born the 2nd largest city in the state of Arkansas, and now we're 10th, 11th. What are we doing? Everybody just sitting here, we come in, we meet every week. We meet every week, and of course, we do our ordinances and resolutions, and some of those show power structures versus something good for the communities. We have a lake here in Pine Bluff, right uptown, the best place you can ask for. We got a Lake Saracen. We got a pavilion over there, and I know we have things over there, but it's not what it would be if it was in Little Rock. Look what Little Rock does. If it was in Lake Village, look what they would be doing. We're not doing what we should do. It's like nobody's caring about what's going on in Pine Bluff until half of us are too old to walk, and then there's nothing left. If we don't grab hold to our youth and do something, we're not going to have a city. All the police that we have no need for them when your tax base dies. You can't pay those guys. You can't pay Mitzi Ruth. You can't pay the mayor. If our town continues to die, the money that each of all of us that work for the city makes, they don't have to reduce. Because you don't have the tax money to pay those people. That's just real sense. We are going to have to wake up to what's going on in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Administration, Alderman Steps.
Mayor, I don't have a report, but we will meet is next Thursday? 10 o'clock? What date is that?
This coming Thursday night,
Not this Thursday, the 16th.
16th.
We have a meeting on the 16th at 10 o'clock.
Okay. Does that conclude your report,
Yes,
sir?
ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Public Safety, Alderman Easterly.
Yes, Mayor, we have reports from the fire and police department. If you look down at the bottom of the fire department, it looked like looks like they had a really busy month, but most of the major things are basically the same numbers, but under the other, and that's what I was asking Mr. Jones about, was what other was, and that's like fires in containers or gas leaks. It's a catch-all for a whole bunch of other small things that, so it looks like even though they did have to go and do a lot, it was not anything, the major things weren't no difference in those, hardly about the same from last month. So thank you for the report, and thank you for doing the good job that y'all always do. And we have the police report. And it's showing that we have a total crimes reduction from this time last year of 747 actual crimes. Is that the way I'm reading that, Chief? Is that correct? That's and 15.87% decrease from last year. And this is just strictly, this is from this time last year till now comparison. And we're down 747 actual crimes from, and that's the whole range of everything that they keep statistics on. And we're proud of that figure and glad we have that down, and appreciate the hard work of the police department and helping make the city a safer place. And Mayor, that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, moving on to ordinances and resolutions. Alderman Brummett.
Yes, Mayor, we have an ordinance amending the 2014 annual budget to create a line item for housing rehabilitation, designating an amount for the line item and related purposes, up for the second reading.
An ordinance amending the 2014 annual budget to create a line item for housing rehabilitation, designating an amount for the line item and related purposes.
Place it on the calendar. We have an ordinance establishing within the police department a quality of life division, prescribing the staffing of the division, transferring certain code enforcement functions of the inspection department to the quality of life division of the police department, amending the 2014 budget, declaring an emergency and related purposes, up for the second reading.
An ordinance establishing within the police department a quality of life division, prescribing the staffing of the division, transferring certain code enforcement functions of the inspection department to the quality of life division of the police department, amending the 2014 city budget, declaring an emergency and related purposes.
We'll place it on the calendar. We have an ordinance amending section 26-155 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, regarding downtown limited time parking penalty of exceeding time limit, to add subsection D concerning parking along Barracue Street near and in front of the Jefferson County Courthouse, and for related purposes, up for the second reading.
An ordinance amending section 26-155 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, regarding downtown limited parking penalty for exceeding time limit, to add subsection D concerning parking along Barracue Street near and in front of the Jefferson County Courthouse, and for related purposes.
Place it on the calendar. We have an ordinance amending Article 1 of Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, regarding identification of city vehicles, up for the first reading.
Whereas it is desired that all city-owned vehicles, accepting the legitimate need for discretion regarding those used in public safety, be prominently identifiable, now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, Article 1 of Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas is amended to add new subsection 2-5, which states all city-owned vehicles shall be painted or equipped with a decal of a size and in a location on the vehicle so as to be easily visible to the public, clearly identifying the vehicle as a public vehicle owned by the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas. The paint or decal shall be of a permanent nature so as to prevent unauthorized tampering or removal. Vehicles used in public safety are exempt from subsection A. Section 2, all vehicles covered by this ordinance shall be painted or decaled within 30 days after the passage of this ordinance. Section 3, all ordinances or any parts thereof conflicting with this ordinance are appealed to the extent of the conflict. Section 4, this ordinance being of a general or permanent nature, the clerk shall cause its publication.
Which committee should this be assigned to? It needs to go to committee before the next council meeting? Administration or Public Works or?
Public health and welfare.
It wouldn't be just public safety because you've got vehicles among all departments.
Works.
Administration,
Public Works.
Public Works.
Administration. Administration.
Be fine, no problem.
Our attorney said Public Works.
Public Works or administration, either one.
Our attorney.
Althea.
Public Works? Okay.
Okay, we'll ask Public Works Committee to review this and bring us a recommendation for the next meeting, and we'll place it on the calendar. Okay, we have an ordinance adopting a social media and networking policy for the Pine Bluff Police Department.
Whereas there is a need to adopt revised and updated policies to the policies and procedures which govern the day-to-day operations of the Pine Bluff Police Department, and whereas the attached social media and networking policy should be included in the policies and procedures manual to establish the parameters for the use of social networks within Pine Bluff Police Department in accordance with the mission, values, vision, values, service standards, and behavioral standards promoted by this organization. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, that the social media and network policy number 181, is hereby approved and adopted into the policies and procedures manual for uniformed personnel of the Pine Bluff Police Department. Said policy is hereby attached and incorporated herein by reference, a copy of which shall be distributed to all police department personnel and filed with the city clerk's office and available for public inspection.
We'll ask the Public Safety Committee to review this and make a recommendation before the next council meeting and place it on the calendar. We have a resolution requesting the police and fire and emergency services departments include on reports the mailing address of the property, which is the site of the incident.
Whereas incident reports made by the police and fire and first responders include the physical location of the incident, but on occasion the physical location and the mailing address are not the same. And whereas it is desired to include the incident report, in the incident report, a mailing address when it is known or can easily be ascertained. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, the police and fire and emergency services departments are requested in all incident reports prepared by officers or firemen to note the mailing address of the incident site when different from the physical address and when the mailing address is known or can be easily ascertained. In order to avoid any redesign of the report form, the officer or fireman should make the notation in the narrative portion of the report after the description of the event.
Move for adoption for purpose of discussion.
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution requesting the police and the fire and emergency services departments included on reports the mailing address of the property which is the site of the incident. The floor is now open for discussion.
Yeah, that's not a resolution. Make sure Mike is one of them. This is last month's crime in the area, the fourth ward area where 71602. If you notice the line about it right here, the biggest part of the crimes are right there. The red and white in the cardinals is car theft. The boxing glove is a assault. I think the money bag chief is a robbery. And the mask right there, the black mask is a armed robbery. Okay, if you see the line that I drew across there, most of your incidents are happening within that 71602 zip code right there in the square. That is the whole ward. I think it's about 25 or 26 that are in there. And all these have that address, that zip code, 71602 Whitehall zip code. Now, the city of Little Rock they put zip codes in everything they do. I didn't give you all a copy of these, but you can pass it around. Every area in the city of Little Rock police department, they put zip codes on the crime, where they can identify it a lot better. And I'm just asking if you all just pass this and continue to help me with this. I'm just asking.
I guess my question is, I'm trying to figure out, what are you asking here?
Well, what I'm asking, good question. What I'm asking is that we can track, since all that area right there has the Whitehall, 71602 Whitehall zip code on it, all of these crimes are in this area. This crime is billed, if Whitehall want the property and area, I mean, it's all billed back to Pine Bluff. It's all Pine Bluff when it comes down to the crime.
But that's I guess what I'm saying, is this Pine Bluff, this area that you got
Right,
in the square?
right,
It is Pine Bluff.
It's Pine Bluff. All this
Okay.
whole area.
It's properly done.
Okay, so if it's Pine Bluff, I guess I'm
But
confused
what I'm
now.
trying to do is identify the zip code with the crime, the mailing address of what these things take place. You got armed robbery, you got car thefts, and if you look at this here paper, there's no month on it, there's no date on it, or anything.
But you're saying it is in Pine Bluff,
Right.
and when the 71602 when the report was filled out, it identified it as being Pine Bluff.
Right. But it's in the zip code area, which is Whitehall.
But even though I'm saying it was in the zip code area, saying Whitehall, but I'm asking you, did they get it right when they said Pine Bluff, because this is Pine Bluff?
Yes.
Did the police department get it right?
Well, it's Pine Bluff. It's Pine Bluff, but it's considered as, with the mailing address, it's considered Whitehall, Arkansas. And we need to identify which area it is, because they do not put the crime into Whitehall, the crimes come over into Pine Bluff.
But in this case, I guess, I'm not saying in all cases, I guess I'm asking the question, in this case, from what I'm hearing you say, some of them might have been misidentified, but in this case, what you're showing us here, they got it right, even though it might have had a 71602 zip code.
All they have is just Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and not the zip code. Because the zip code identifies the city that you're in. I'm asking you all, I need this, if you don't mind, I'm just asking.
Okay, any other, yes, sir.
Any more questions?
Yes, sir.
You're talking about zip code, and this says nothing about zip codes, period. This says that this is asking for a mailing address that's different from the incident address. And I have a problem with, I don't know what's the, it's you said one thing, but it's asking for another. I don't know that the mailing, if they got the incident right on the report, I mean, where the incident happened, why does a mailing address need to be on the report?
Well, the zip code along with the mailing address.
Well, that's not what this, I'm just saying that's not what this,
That's what you interpret.
this is asking for mailing addresses on these, I don't know that the mailing address needs, I don't know that that's a,
On the incident report, it has a place for the zip code.
But there's no zip code on it.
well, they can put the zip code on it, it doesn't make any difference, but I mean, that this doesn't say anything about it. This is asking for a mailing address that, this is asking for separate information.
I know
That's,
it don't seem like a big deal to you all, but let me tell you something, in the long run, we're gonna lose Pine Bluff. We're gonna try to.
we're not losing anything.
We're not going to lose anything, Alderman Mays.
Okay, any other discussion?
Well-
No, we're not.
We're already voted on this once. It was defeated. I'd actually, we go ahead and have the vote.
Just asking
Okay.
you all support,
Okay.
if you would.
Any other comments? Hearing none, let's have roll call, please.
Alderman Brummett,
No,
Alderman Easterly. No. Alderman Stepps,
No.
Alderman Walker.
No.
Alderman Boyd. No. Alderman Brown. No. Alderman Mays. Alderman
No.
Motion fails.
okay, we have a resolution regarding the 2020 census count.
Whereas there is anecdotal evidence that the sharing of the 71602 zip code designation with the city of Whitehall has and will continue to affect the population count for the city of Pine Bluff. And whereas it behooves city government to be prepared for the 2020 national census to ensure that the population of Pine Bluff is accurately counted by ensuring updated city maps and other measures. And whereas the city should commit to contesting the 2020 count if it reflects a population of less than 45,000 or there is proof of irregularities calling the result into question. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the City of Pine Bluff pledges that it will identify and undertake measures within its power to promote an accurate count and to contest any count which reflects a population for the city of less than 45,000 or of any amount if there is proof of irregularities in the process calling the accuracy of the count into question.
Move for adoption.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that a resolution regarding the 2020 census count. Floor is now open for discussion.
Well, this is another resolution that I have, and what this is with all the confusion with the boundary lines and the zip codes, I'm just looking down the road in 2020 that if our population dropped below 45,000, we can go in and put in for a census recount, just plain now, because of the seriousness of this, and it's real serious. If you look in here, this explains everything about the existence of the zip code, the Whitehall zip code, and it says that in here, if you read that second page, and it's about taxes, and it was confusion back in 1998 when they first started all this. I got all the information from people who are really concerned and know about what's going on. I'm just trying to plan ahead to save our city. Read
Okay.
all that. If you take time to read it, and it tells you how the zip code was confusing back then in 1998 when Whitehall was supposed to have got their own zip code, the city of Whitehall, and they didn't, and they came back and took all of our citizens in Pine Bluff back with their zip code into Whitehall. And it says it right here, and it's a two-page report.
Okay, any other comments? Yes, sir.
And it goes back to the boundary ordinance that we passed to update and get our boundaries accurate. This is really a serious issue. I'm asking for your support on this.
Okay. Alderman Holcomb?
I appreciate his passion, but you can lose citizens for two reasons. They simply move and they don't do the census. You know?
Yeah. It's prudent upon the council and the city to make sure that when we start approaching the time for the next census count 2020, that we make sure that the people are aware of it, advertise it, get it out to the public, town hall meetings, and make sure that the counts are as accurate as we can make them. Then when the preliminary count comes back and it's not what we think it should be, then that's the time to call for action to say, okay, she can give us particular zones where they had a lesser participation with the citizens. We can look at different areas and test those areas. So,
I was talking to his son and some New Jersey working with the census in 2010, and they said they did the paperwork, and they said, yes, we counted some of those residents in Whitehall, Arkansas, in the Dollar area, quite a few of them. Then you all know.
well, and probably could go just the opposite too. Okay, any other comments?
What I'm doing is doing my best to help our city and our citizens. And now is the time. I think it slipped through a lot of you all on the council's hand over the years. This thing should have been addressed years ago, and it's a serious issue. And we don't stop it now, it's going to be major destruction down the road to our city. And I'm not going to stop until we fix this issue, but just get our own zip code and the boundaries.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Oh, roll call, please.
Alderman Brumman?
No.
Alderman Easterly? Alderman Stepps?
No.
Alderman Walker? Alderman Boyd? Alderman Brown? Alderman Mays? Alderman Hope?
No.
Motion fails.
Thank you all.
Mayor, we have a resolution approving a continued funding agreement as revised June of 2014 with the Pine Bluff Civic Auditorium Complex Commission.
Whereas on June 23, 2013, the city entered into that certain lease purchase agreement with First Security Leasing Incorporated, pursuant to which the city financed the acquisition, construction, and installation of certain energy conservation measures in the Pine Bluff Convention Center. And whereas the Civic Auditorium Complex Commission oversees and manages the operation of the Convention Center, and in conjunction with the execution of the lease, agreed to make the lease payments in accordance with the terms and conditions of the lease with funds in the auditorium fund provided from the operation of the convention center. And whereas the city is willing to currently refund the lease as part of the larger city revenue bond issue, provided that the convention center continues to make from its available convention center revenues payments equal to the lease payments for the remaining term of the lease as if the lease continued in effect. Whereas the city is willing to renegotiate the lease payment terms to allow for the additional and extended time for the convention center to pay sums due pursuant to this agreement in conformity with the debt service schedule. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the mayor is authorized to sign the attached continuing funding agreement with the Pine Bluff Civic Auditorium Complex Commission and take the needed actions to implement the agreement.
Move for adoption.
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution approving a continued funding agreement as revised June 2014 with the Pine Bluff Civic Auditorium Complex Commission. Floor is now open for discussion. Yes, yes sir. Yes, sir.
Alderman Brummett, could you talk clearly and tell us what we're doing here? Because
Steve, would you mind coming up? And it's just a rework of to save money because changes in interest rates and so on.
I had the same question too. I'll let you explain this.
The 2009 bond issue, we refunded leases for energy improvements or the convention center as well as the civic center. And in 2014, the 2009 bond issue was refunded. I talked to Bob Purvis at that time and was just informing him of that, and he said it would be great if there was some way just to level out our payments. And so on the front you've got the current debt service schedule with Stevens, and then on the back you've got the old debt service schedule for the 2009 bond issue with Cruz. The way the old one was structured, the convention center kept their payment that they had for the leases, which was about $159,000, almost $160,000 a year, up until the end of the lease term ran out. They weren't really going to extend that debt, and then they got some new money to make improvements out of the convention center, and you see that was paid off over the next 10 years between 2020 and 2029 at about $90,000 to $92,000 a year. What Bob wanted to do is just go ahead and level that thing out over the whole term, and Stevens agreed to do that. And so on the front schedule with Stevens, you see their payments are about $110,000 a year. Now, total payments of $1,663,000 with Stevens, and total on the old schedule for the same period of $1,703,000, and that's reflective of the lower interest rate that we had. But this is going to help the convention center's cash flow in the next 5 years by about $50,000 a year. And so they wanted to do it. Stevens agreed to do it. This is the way our 2014 bond issue is structured. So this is the way we're making the payments to the Simmons Trust to make to the bondholders, and this resolution just makes the convention center's payment to the city equal to this.
Basically, it levelizes the payment that the convention center has to make on the bond issue to help our cash flow at the convention center. This doesn't really change anything as far as the city is concerned.
I have a question, because it was saying that the money would be paid it would be the revenue bond, the city's agreement to extend the time period, time within the commission to pay some due, and that it would be to make regular payments to the city as further directed by the city to the city treasurer or other appropriate office. So what's that?
They actually bring their check in to the finance office, and then we take it down to the city collector's office and deposit it.
You said they.
The convention center.
Okay, but that's not what it said.
That's the practice, so that's what's happening.
But still not what it said.
Who's responsible for bringing that money in?
I'm sorry.
Who's responsible for bringing that money in?
It's just they're responsible for making their payments to the city.
Isn't that
and
you, Bob?
Yes.
Well, why Bob's not here?
Bob had a death in the family. He's in Fort Smith with the family right now.
We just wait till he gets here, and we just.
Well, this is,
I prefer to do that because I need a lot more than we're getting from this tonight.
this is nothing changing as far as the city's responsibility is concerned in any shape, form, or fashion.
And Alderman Brown, the payments are budgeted, the revenue for the convention center is budgeted, so you can say I'm responsible to alert the mayor if the convention center were not paid, which has never happened. It's line item in our budget for the revenue, and, their share of the bond payment is an expense line item of approximately equal. So, we have our eyes on that as well.
Well, if the payment comes to the city, then you would know whether you had it or not.
Yes, I do.
So, but it doesn't state this.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
How much revenue is involved in all this?
The total of the amortization schedule for the period from 2015, the remaining period through 2029, under the old schedule was $1,703,350. Under the new schedule, it's $1,663,525. And the difference reflects the savings in the interest that the city got when we refunded that money.
So this money is itemized towards what? I mean, that's what I was.
We bought, you remember when we did the energy efficiency program here at the Civic Center complex? And we saved lots of money on our monthly utility bills. Tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, you were here.
Yeah, but
Then we did the same thing over there.
But this came up all of a sudden. I mean, it's just.
This isn't all of a sudden, this is just it's the same, we can wait, I mean, I don't care,
Okay.
just stupid.
So we're going to pull it?
We'll put it on the, Wayne, did you make a second on it? So back off your second and I'll remove my motion and we'll put it on the calendar for the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Again, just trying to make progress. Okay, we have a resolution providing for placement of costs of certain nuisance on tax books as delinquent taxes and collected as such.
Whereas ACA,
Second,
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution providing for placement of cost of correcting certain nuisance on tax books as delinquent taxes and collected as such. Floor is now open for discussion.
Mayor, I'd just like to point out, we always are talking about houses that have been condemned and properties and liens that we placed on property. You can see how thick this is. These are new ones for tonight. We deal with these every week, so the number is growing. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none,
I didn't see nothing to amend any of them also.
okay, I was going to see if you had something. I didn't see anything. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
We have a resolution appointing Celeste Alexander to the Board of Trustees of the Arts and Science Center for Southeast Arkansas.
whereas the term of Linnell Roberts, Leslie Peters, and William Detmers as a member of the Board of Trustees of the Arts and Science Center for Southeast Arkansas expires on December 31st, 2014. Whereas the mayor has elected to appoint Celeste Alexander, Thomas Gathan, and Troy DeBille to the board, subject to council approval. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the mayor's appointment of Dr. Celeste Alexander, Mr. Thomas Gathan, and Troy DeBille to the Board of Trustees of the Arts and Science Center for the Southeast Arkansas, all appointees to serve a term to commence January 1, 2015, and to expire January 31st, 2017, are hereby approved and confirmed.
Move for adoption of resolutions 11, 12, and 13.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that a resolution appointing Dr. Celeste Alexander, Thomas Gayton, and Troy DeBille to the Board of Trustees of the Arts and Science Center for Southeast Arkansas. Floor is now open for discussion. Yes, yes, you're wel- just, yes, ma'am.
This is a question for Ms. Scott. For this board, should these appointees live in the city?
I think Mr. Childers was one that prepared that.
It's
You can
Southeast
answer.
Arkansas. Within the county.
Okay, because I saw where one lived in McGee. Is that in Jefferson County?
One lives in Alltown. That's the question I had back in the meeting, before the meeting earlier. Mr. DeVille lived in Alltown, and I had questions asked.
That's Jefferson County.
It's Jefferson County though, but
Okay, but one lives in McGee.
that's the Shea County.
The board is Southeast Arkansas Arts and Science Center.
It doesn't matter, he said Jefferson
Well,
County.
Sir?
We'll check on which one. Mr. Gathan, I think, is the one that lives in McGee. We'll check on that one.
Okay, because the president several years ago lived in Dumas, Arkansas, for the board, Arts Center Board. So,
Thomas Gathan works in McGee, but he has a home here in Pine Bluff.
Yes, 'cause he stays on Richmond.
Right. He works as the superintendent in McGee, but he has not changed his
It says
residency.
2203 Richmond Drive.
I guess what I'm saying is that you had a president 2 years ago that lived in Dumas, Arkansas. So, I don't know that would,
I feel Mr. Gathan do a good job.
His place of employment's not, his domicile's in Jefferson County, that's all.
It's in Pine Bluff.
That's all.
That's right.
okay.
It's in, his residence on the application is Pine Bluff.
Well, yeah, well, do he live in McGee or not?
That's where he works.
That's where he works. But his residence is 2203 Richmond Drive, Pine Bluff, 71603.
Okay, any other discussion?
It's on Richmond, I'll say, yeah.
Any other discussion? Okay, let's have roll call, please.
Alderman Brumman?
Aye.
Alderman Easterly?
Aye.
Alderman Steph?
Aye.
Alderman Walker? Alderman Boyd?
Aye.
Alderman Brown? Alderman Mays?
Aye.
Alderman Hope?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, we have a resolution, amending resolution number 3735 to correct an address and to delete a property.
Whereas it is necessary to make an address correction regarding a property and also to delete a property listed in resolution number 3735 passed August 18, 2014. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, resolution number 3735 passed August 18, 2014 is amended on page 3, lines 4 through 6 regarding property owned by Larry L. Hopkins to change the address from 815 North Bryant Street to 1517 West 27th Avenue, and further amended on page 2, lines 10 through 12 to delete the property owned by Charles Raymond Colon Sr. located at 2512 South Elm Street. The inspection department shall ensure this resolution is filed with the Jefferson County Circuit Clerk and mailed to Larry L. Hobson and Charles Raymond Colon Sr. respectively.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution amending resolution number 3735 to correct an address and to delete a property. Floor is now open for discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Then we have a resolution amending resolution number 3753 to correct an address.
Whereas it is necessary to make an address correction regarding a property listed in Resolution Number 3753 passed on September 15, 2014. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Resolution Number 3753 passed September 15, 2014 is amended on page 4, lines 10 through 12 regarding property owned by Tops to change the address from 3715 West 3rd Street to 3517 West 3rd Street. The Inspection Department shall ensure this resolution is filed with the Jefferson County Circuit Clerks and mailed to Tops.
Move for adoption.
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution amending resolution number 3753 to correct address. Floor is now open for discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, we have a resolution authorizing execution of a contract with Klein Construction Company for work on the Joe Thomas Public Safety Building renovation, appropriating funds to pay for the renovation work, and also for improvements in the Civic Center complex, appropriating funds for services in asbestos abatement and architectural services and other related purposes.
Whereas, after solicitation for and receipt of bids pertaining to renovation work on the Joe Thomas Public Safety Building, the firm of Klein Construction Company of Little Rock, Arkansas submitted the lowest, most responsible bid for the job. And whereas it is desired to execute an agreement with Klein Construction Company to perform the work for the consideration in the bid and on the terms consistent with the bid specifications and standard in the field of the project for the project. And whereas it is understood that the renovation will involve some asbestos abatement necessitating use of a licensed and qualified firm to perform this service. And whereas the professional architectural firms of Nelson and Associates and Reed Architectural Firm have previously been selected to provide the needed architectural services. And whereas there is needed improvements to other parts of the Civic Center complex which should be concurrent with the renovation work on the Joe Thomas facility. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, the mayor is authorized to execute an agreement with Klein Construction Company of Little Rock, Arkansas to perform work relating to the renovation of the Joe Thomas Public Safety Building for the consideration set forth in its bid, $2,377,252 million on the terms set forth in the bid specifications, otherwise standard for work of the same nature in the field. The city clerk shall attest the mayor's signature if needed. Section 2, the mayor is authorized to proceed with improvements to the Civic Center complex which are listed in the attached exhibit, 2 pages, for the cost listed. Section 3, the mayor is authorized to execute an agreement with the firm identified as the lowest, most responsible bidder to perform asbestos abatement services during the renovation of the Joe Thomas Public Safety Building. Section 4, there is hereby appropriated the sum of $2,741,318 to defray the cost of the renovation of this Joe Thomas facility, the improvements to the Civic Center complex, asbestos abatement in the Joe Thomas facility, and the payment of architectural fees and reimbursable expenses to the Nelson Architectural Group and Reed Architectural Firms joint venture are itemized as below. A more detailed itemization is set forth in the attached exhibit. The appropriated funds shall be taken from the bond proceeds specifically dedicated and set aside for the project, $2,557,499, and from the bond revenue reserves account, $183,819.
Move for adoption.
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution authorizing execution of a contract with Klein Construction Company for work on the Joe Thomas Public Safety Building renovation, appropriating funds to pay for the renovation work and also for improvements in the Civic Center complex, appropriating funds for services in asbestos abatement and architectural services and related purposes. Floor is now open for discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, that concludes our agenda.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that we adjourn this city council meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.